You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, card shop, arcade, theme park, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
This is Tony Chimmel, and I'd like to introduce the hosts of the Game Marks podcast, George Feis and Johnny Clash.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am Mr. Anything is Feasible, George Feis, and today we are playing Fire Pro Wrestling G. Good to be back.
I keep wondering what letter is coming at the end of that because we've played so many of these. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a 5-star review for this podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod, and check out the exclusive content we are creating for our Patreon at patreon.com/GameMarksPod. Georgia boy, we are...
Did you not want me to do the whole how's this game going to hold up? Is it going to get to play it forever or future endeavor? Or did you not want me to do that part?
You can do it now.
All right, John.
I guess you paused too long.
Well, I heard you say something, so I stopped. So we're just cut out that section where you do your thing, and then I'm just going to come in right now. Listen, John. I know you're very excited about playing this game today, but you cut me off, and I didn't get to do the whole how's this game going to hold up thing. So how is this game going to hold up? Is it going to get a play it forever? Woo! Or a future endeavor?
You're fired!
We also discussed the latest WWE 2K22 patch notes and a whole lot of gaming news. John.
The funny thing is, you think I'm going to cut that and make it make sense, but
no, I know.
I'm leaving it all exactly how it was. It's been a long week, but we are here. Another day, another Fire Pro with another letter at the end of it. We are playing Fire Pro Wrestling G. I'm excited. Well, let's talk a little bit more about last week. Legends of Wrestling card and dice game from Filzinger Games. We talked to Todd. It was a great time. What a good interview. I went back. I listened to it again, and there's things you pick up, even though you were present and you were there, that you pick up the second time even more. I know I went and ordered some more cards. A bunch of our listeners said that they went and ordered some cards. And yeah, this is going to be a pretty hefty collection, I think, for some people when they realize how many cards there actually are.
Oh, yeah. And, it fills a gap, at least from what I'm going to use them for my collection, is... it's going to kind of fill the gap for now for people that we have had as guests on the show that don't necessarily have figures yet.
Oh, there you go. That's a very good idea. But other than that, a new WWE 2K22 patch rolled out. This one, I've seen people say, "Oh, this is the weakest patch yet." Blah blah blah. But what?
Still a patch.
Yeah. What do you consider a weak patch? They're still fixing the game. So what do you want? But I will say with that, this is a pretty weak patch because who the hell wants FaZe Clan branded apparel in community creations? See, to me, that's the weak part. I don't really care about that. But stability and balance improvements to the game.
When people think back and they listen to this podcast and they're like, what was Johnny Clash like as a podcast host? What was Johnny Clash's personality? That section, if you need a snippet of what John Clash is like, I almost used the shoot name. Clash. I almost used the shoot name. But if you need to know what he is like in day-to-day life, that 30-second clip is it.
But who wants FaZe branded clothing? I don't know. I don't know. Stability and balance improvements to the game as well. And if you want to see for yourself, we now have in its entirety the Rey Mysterio Showcase mode on our YouTube channel. And George did it. He started the My Rise mode with GMP Man. So go check that out as well.
It is a lot of fun. It is. I'm getting the sense, even after just peek behind the curtain. Played, recorded, uploaded the first episode. The second episode, as of this recording, is recorded, and hopefully by the time that this gets uploaded, it's already live on our YouTube channel. I have a feeling that this is probably going to be one of the most in-depth My Rise modes of the last couple of years. Yeah. And I'm actually very excited about it because it just feels like it's going to be, I don't know, worth the time, worthwhile to kind of put your effort into this. And if you see the change from what the GMP man looked like in the first episode to what he looks like in the second episode, you can tell I am getting a sense that it's going to be worth it because I put a lot of effort into his mask.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. And I got a GMP girl, woman. I don't know what I'm going to call her yet. I got her mask ready. So we'll be starting right after you. Let's talk about this for a second. Friend of the pod, Justin Leeper. We mentioned a few weeks ago that he found a document where he mapped out a story for The Miz in SmackDown vs. Raw 2011's Road to WrestleMania mode. So the other day, he posted, WWE SmackDown vs. Raw 2011's Road to WrestleMania mode has 5 stories. A 6th was supposed to star The Miz with real John Morrison, that's his Twitter name. I don't know why I read the real part. John Morrison as the antagonist, but WWE didn't approve the pitch. Want to read it? Sure you do. Part of my recently discovered Road to WrestleMania documents, and he posted a link on Twitter to this. It has the entire script. It's a 40-page script with everything mapped out for a Miz Road to WrestleMania mode. You could see for yourself. We shared it on Twitter if you want to go find it or view his website, justinsThisJustin.wordpress.com, or follow him on Twitter at JustinLeeper_yo, and you could find it as well. I read through it. I thought it was really cool. It's something like I said last week where you got guys like Kofi where maybe you wouldn't necessarily get a cool story from them in real life at the time, but you would get it from them in video game form. I think The Miz could have been one of those as well.
Yeah, those fantasy booking storylines, like you said, that are over the top, super dramatic. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Miz dramatic. Who would think it?
I mean, I'm saying dramatic in sense of like how far they could have pushed it.
Yeah, I think that would have been really cool. And if you read the script, you'll see it also. And with that, I think we have to plug one last thing here, and that is, speaking of Twitter, when we hit 1,000 follows on Twitter, we are almost there. We will release the video game history of Mick Foley. That's Mick Foley. That's Mankind. That's Dude Love. That's Cactus Jack. So go follow us today. Tell all your friends at Game Marks Pod.
Yeah, we have a pinned tweet there that John made this awesome graphic that shows the GMP man mask with the Mankind mask over it. It is awesome. It's probably one of the video game histories that I've been looking forward to the most. So if you already follow and you want to help support this channel, give that pinned tweet a little retweet there.
Yeah, give it a retweet. Do the liking, do the whole following thing. But George, we're here for one reason and one reason only, and that's Fire Pro Wrestling G. I'm tiptoeing. Ready? I'm heading towards the diving board. I'm making a splash. Are you ready for the deep dive? Sponsored by Zavi.
I'm pushing you off the diving board, man. It's a Fire Pro game. I'm ready.
Hey, George. You see this light here that says Game Over that I point to at the end of every single episode, like Ronda Rousey pointing to that WrestleMania sign?
I do.
Do you know where I got it?
Why don't you tell me?
I got it from Zavi. That's us.zavi.com, Z-A-V-V-I, and they literally have everything. I have spent hours on this website looking up Mandalorian, Jurassic Park, Harry Potter, like everything you could imagine. There's Legos, Power Rangers. You could pre-order the new Marvel Legends. It's an insane website that has literally everything pop culture. There's even Batman shoes on here.
I mean, I know for me, a little like adult Zen garden project that I like to do is like the smaller Lego sets, and Zavi has a lot of those Lego sets on there and getting kind of itchy. So if you like all things pop culture, like John said, Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Harry Potter, Nintendo, they're even getting into the wrestling game now.
Oh yeah.
Zavi is the place for you.
That's right. Use code GameMarks, simply just GameMarks, at checkout, and you can get 10% off.
I'm going to redo my wardrobe. All right. Fire Pro Wrestling G. Released June 24th, 1999. Published by Human Entertainment. Developed by SNEO for the PlayStation. Now, other games you got, 1999. You got King Soul, All Japan Pro Wrestling. Giant Graham, All Japan Pro Wrestling 2. New Japan Pro Wrestling, Tokkan Retsuden 4. WCW vs. NWO Thunder. WCW Mayhem. WWF Attitude. And WWF WrestleMania 2000.
What base is not covered here? Everything's covered. Just look at WCW only. Thunder and Mayhem. Two very different games. Like,
for all the wrong
polar opposites. I don't know. And then I'm Fire Pro Game, which is a monster of its own to compete with everything here. We say it, I think, every time we hit a game from 99 or 2000. It really up to I'd say 2002, 2003. We get everything. We get absolutely everything coming out in one year. Like, what do you pick? It's very hard.
There's so much. I mean, and you really can't. You can't even be like that age, that year range that you just gave there. You can't even be bitter about those years because, like you said, there's literally something for everything. You can't be like, oh, well, this year was better than this year.
No.
Yeah, you could make that argument based on the titles that come out, but that string of years in terms of like wrestling video games, it's unbeatable.
But if you don't like one of them, there are just other options. Like, you just pick something else.
And like a lot.
Like a lot, yeah. Any console, any option, yeah, it's cool. Handhelds, everything. But all right, this game precedes Iron Slam 96 as one of only 2 PlayStation 1 Fire Pro games. But chronologically, this comes after Fire Pro Wrestling S 6-Man Scramble for the Sega Saturn. And you know what comes after this, George? Fire Pro Wrestling for the Wonder Swan, my favorite.
Oh, the Wonder Swan.
We'll play it one day, but this was kind of lumped in there with some of the better Fire Pro games, and we'll talk about it a little later. This one was not perceived as well, but gameplay-wise,
Fire Pro.
You see in our playthrough, we sit down, we're like, okay, yeah, well, we know what we're doing. This is Fire Pro. Other than the translation barrier, because it's only a Japanese game, there wasn't much to figure out.
Yeah, it was Fire Pro. There was nothing groundbreaking or confusing or. I mean, yeah, it has been a little bit since we played a Fire Pro game.
It has.
Like a this style, like a main console, non-handheld main Fire Pro release. So at first I was like, oh no, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I was like, wait. I absolutely know what I'm doing.
Well, I filmed Fire Pro Z, I think it was the other day for Future Endeavored.
Okay.
So, and Thunder Pro Wrestling Retsuden, which was... Honestly, I think I had a better time than Z just because the game wasn't working too well for me when I played through Z. But I like having that little base there from now playing one that's a little bit older because you see the differences. The ring seemed a little smaller. I think the death match was inside of a cage rather than having the 2 different cages and 2 different death matches. And so it was like those little differences, but at the same time, you got the gruesome fight, the death match. You got the same stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, it's still just as fun as it's always been.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. I will say this though, the entrance music to this game, probably my favorite Fire Pro entrance theme.
Yeah, you left that on for a while there.
It was awesome. It sounded like the 90s Spider-Man animated cartoon. It was so good.
Yeah, it might have been like Dragon Force or something. One of those, types.
So great.
But of course, you get your one night match, which is your exhibition match. You get Fighting Road, which is pretty much your story where you take your wrestler, you fight through the different federations, you're assigned a base promotion, and based on your interviews and wrestling style, you keep going into different promotions. It's basically an RPG type element to a regular Fire Pro game that wouldn't necessarily have a story. Then you're getting your open league, your tournament, your edit mode, which is, we always say, the bread and butter here. Your battle royal, the dojo where you can learn, a title match, a death match, and a gruesome fight.
Now, I will say this about the dojo. I feel like this game has a little bit more cartoonish quality to how they're depicting some of the characters in the game versus how in other games you either get really crudely pixelated versions of wrestlers, or in, like Fire Pro Wrestling World.
Are you talking about the actual sprite of the wrestler, or like when they pop up on the screen?
The trainers, when they pop up to have dialogue. Like in newer games, they're the actual like promo shots of the wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
In older games, it was like really poorly pixelated versions, or like just the the icon of the wrestler that popped up with a little speech bubble. But this is like full on cartoon, like almost like anime style. It's very cool. It's very different in terms of what we've seen from other Fire Pro games. I liked it. I was a big fan of it. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, anime I think is the best way to really describe it. In the beginning, in that opening sequence, like you were talking about with that music, they pretty much flash through everyone's character also. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, honestly, I'm not one that normally went through the fighting roads. I think Fire Pro... I am drawing a blank. What the hell's the new one called? Fire Pro World was the closest I really came to completing one, but I really only did it to get the Super Juniors, and I just wanted the roster members, like Will Ospreay and stuff. So that's... And even then, I really just wanted to see what his theme music was. If it was Lives Its Breeds or not. I don't know. I think we just have fun going back and just doing all the matches.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is always just you kind of. I did the Champion Road in Fire Pro Wrestling World. Played it a lot on our Twitch streams back in the day, but for me, Fire Pro has always just been drop in. Yeah. Play a bunch of matches. You do a singles match, you do a tag match, you do a battle royal, you do the death match, you do a gruesome, and then you go, all right, well, out of all those matches I just played, which is the one that I want to like kind of end on and play one more time before you go. And then, you go and edit a wrestler, for 6 hours, and then you start all over again.
Well, even the other day I was sitting here at my computer, like, what do I want to play? I popped on PlayStation, which I don't normally do. I played through like one game of NHL. I got frustrated because I lost with like 0.6 seconds left. I popped on PGA. I played a couple rounds. I'm like, all right, I'm kind of bored. Like, what do I do? I'm just by myself. I'm like, fuck it. I'm playing Fire Pro World. I popped it in. I played some games. I had some fun. I ended on a big battle royal, and I called it a night. That's
the way to do it.
That's the way it is. And we always say it. You could just pick it up and you could play.
I think that's the best thing about Fire Pro is that there's really no right or wrong way to play. Like everyone's got their style that they think is best, and everyone has the style that works for them and how they like to play the game, and that's the beauty of it. And I mean, I would even say over the last couple of years that's kind of what WWE games have kind of become, where they've put in so many different game modes and so many different game like match styles that you can do that as well. If there's 25 or 30 different match types, you're probably only going to play like 10 because you're going to find those 10 that you love.
I believe it. But all right, now it's not time for ratings and reviews, George.
No, it's not.
But it's time for the roster. Now I want you to just sit back. I got something special for you tonight.
You told me that that you had something planned, and I thought that this meant that you were reading.
No. We're going to take the night off. Neither of us are going to read the roster. So
I'm afraid.
You should be. Let's go.
Antonio Inoki, Riki Choshu, Tatsumi Fujinami, Shinya Hashimoto, Masahiro Chono, Kiji Muto, Shiro Koshinaka, Kensuke Sasaki, Kazuo Yamazaki, Animal Hamaguchi, Osamu Kido, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, Satoshi Kojima, Manabu Nakanishi, Yuji Nagata, Kengo Kimura, Junji Hirata, Tatsutoshi Godo, Takayuki Aizuka, Mishiyoshi Ohara, Osamu Nishimura, Tadao Yasuda, Hiro Saito, Kuniaki Kobayashi, Akira Nogami, Akitoshi Saito, Big Titan, Kotetsu Yamamoto, Tiger Mask, Dynamite Kid, Jushin Thunder Liger, El Samurai, Norio Hanaga, Koji Kanemoto, Shinjiro Otani, Kendo Kashin, Tatsuhito Taikawa, Black Tiger, Olive Japan, Shohei Giant Baba, Jumbo Tsuruda, Mitsuharu Misawa, Kenta Kobayashi, Toshiaki Kawada, Akira Taiyu, Hiroshi Hase, Jun Akiyama, Yoshihiro Takayama, Takao Omori, Taman Honda, Masahiro Kakihara, Jun Izumura, Dory Funk Jr., Stan Hansen, Bruiser Brody, Vader, Gary Albright, Johnny Ace, Headhunter A, Headhunter B, Maun Ake Mossman, Wolf Hawkfield, Johnny Smith, Johnny Smith, Masanobu Fuchi, Tiger Mask, Yoshinari Ogawa, Tsuyoshi Kikuchi, The Great Kabuki, Atsushi Onita, Kodo Fuyuki, Hayabusa, Ryumago, Koji Kitao, Tarzan Godo, Sunji Takano, Mr. Pogo, Hisakatsu Oya, Mitsuhiro Matsunaga, Mr. Ganosuke, Masato Tanaka, Jado, Koji Nakagawa, Kintaro Kanamura, Tetsuhiro Kuroda, Shoji Nakamaki, Abdullah the Butcher, Tiger Jeet Singh, Terry Funk, The Gladiator, Sabu, Rob Van Dam, Guido, Ricky Fuji, Masao Orihara, Janichiro Tenryu, Nobutaka Araya, Michinoku Pro, Jinsei Shinzaki, Gran Hamada, The Great Sasuke, Taka Michinoku, Men's Taiyo, Gran Naniwa, Tiger Mask 4, Ric Flair, Hollywood Hogan, Bill Goldenberg, Scott Norton, Sting, Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner, Randy Savage, Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, Diamond Dallas Page, The Great Muta, Bam Bam Bigelow, British Bulldog, Conan, Fake Sting, Ultimo Dragon, Kaz Hayashi, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Psychosis, Rey Mysterio Jr., Andre the Giant, Steve Austin, Hawk, Animal, Steve Dr. Death Williams, Terry Gordy, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, The Big Show, The Rock, Mankind Cactus Jack, Ken Shamrock, Kane, Dan Severn, Mike Burton, Goldust, The Patriot, Doug Furness, Shoichichi Funaki, Chris Jericho, Philip LaFawn, Akira Maeda, Kiyoshi Tamura, Yoshihisa Yamamoto, Tsuyoshi Kosaka, Blitz Zardi Tariel, Volkan, Dick Reach, Hans Nyman, Masaki Sataki, Peter Ertz, Ernesto Hoots, Andy Hug, Mike Bernardo, Yuki Ishikawa, Daisuke Ikeda, Alexander Otsuka, Takeshi Ono, Masakatsu Funaki, Minoru Suzuki, Manabu Yamada, Bas Rutten, Mil Mascaras, Dos Caras, El Hijo del Santo, Negro Casas, Dr. Wagner Jr., Naoya Ogawa, Ensign Inoue, Rumena Saito, Alexander Carolyn, Rickson Gracie, Gerard Gordeau, Maurice Smith, Don Fry, Nobuhiko Takada, Noshiaki Fujiwara, Yoji Anjo, Mitsuya Nagai, Naoki Sano, Kenichi Yamamoto, Super Delphin, Dick Togo, Naohiro Yoshikawa, Masato Yakushiji, Carl Gotch, Lou Thies, Ricky Dozin, Super Tiger,
Okay, first of all, who was that?
I don't know.
And second of all, why would you make that person do that?
George. So I'm doing the notes, right? And I get to the roster and I'm like, fuck. These rosters are just too long. What am I going to do? Am I going to do the stupid joke where I
Speed read.
I speed them up again that we do all the time?
That's our shtick. That's what we do.
No, I went on Fiverr, and I was like,
that's what that is.
I was like, who's cheap? And then I got seductive lady number 10 or whatever the hell she was. I sent the roster, and she said, okay, but I don't know how I'm going to be able to read all these Japanese names. And I said, don't worry about it.
We don't know how to either.
No, and this is what we got. Now, I think the funniest part to me was when I typed Dick Togo, and I just didn't know how that one was going to go.
Did you capitalize the T and the G?
Not the G, but
okay.
I don't know how it's perceived, but
because I was going to say, if you capitalize the G, we're getting a to go.
I just hope everyone enjoyed their Fire Pro Wrestling G roster ASMR, and yeah. All right, with that, let's talk about
sultry. Why couldn't you just?
Because I like making you as uncomfortable as possible.
It's not I feel bad for that person.
Oh no, she got paid. It's fine.
I just imagine this person in their room, their recording room, mic up against their mouth, and they're just like, Atsushi Oni,
Minoru,
Dick to go,
Suzuki,
Hulk Hogan.
Well, I hope that was a treat for everyone. George, let's go to the artwork.
Mean Mark Callis.
All right. Enough. Bill Goldberg. The usual Fire Pro Wrestling logo with the flames behind it with the big G. Now also available,
Big G,
for the Pocket Station. Now, you don't see that very, very often, huh?
No.
Not very talked about. The Pocket Station. I will say this: I like this cover as an artwork style.
I think it's cool.
I don't get the cover photo of this guy walking in the giant white robe where he's all grayed out. I don't like that. If that was like a wrestler looking dude, not a Satanist, it would have looked a little better.
John, have you ever taken the AEW walking like promo shot?
No. Why would I ever take that?
I don't know. I feel like everyone who... Have you ever done a spot at AEW?
No.
Oh, I don't know. But I feel like everyone...
You don't?
I don't know. Maybe you did and I forgot about it. Who knows? But I feel like everyone who goes there and they take their promo shots in the back, everyone's got like that mid-walk shot for some reason.
Way to make me feel like shit, man. Damn.
Oh, no, I was just asking.
Had my big WrestleMania 35 moment. You just take me down from there. But okay.
All right. Well, okay.
All right.
That's a little bit bigger than you being on Dark.
Pocket Station. Let's talk about the Pocket Station. This thing is terrible. It's small. It came out in 99. It only lasted until 2002.
Dreamcast memory card. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just Sony's version of the Dreamcast memory card. Yeah. Dreamcast didn't do it well. Sony didn't do it well either.
But only really a handful of games that this worked with, and this was one of them. So, okay.
I mean, there's a decent amount, and there's some like bigger name titles. I mean, but all out of Japan. Like Poppin' Music is a huge series in Japan.
Yeah.
The Spyro was on here, Street Fighter, but like, yeah. And then there's also just
Fire Pro G. Back cover, very, 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 can I say very again, text heavy. I'm not even going to take
text heavy, John?
Not even going to take out the translator because you basically just have I don't know, did like a teacher make this? It's just images to the left and then text all the way to the right.
My favorite is in total there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 screenshots in total. And for me, I just think that the one for the pocket station on the right side is just the best.
It's no.
Go out of your way.
No.
Seek out this screenshot. It is hilarious.
All right, let's talk about the actual art style here. Forget about
2 stick figures.
It's 2 stick figures, yes. The actual art style, we already mentioned the anime style of fighting Road and what the characters look like when they're talking. Everything else, I mean, it's Fire Pro. It's just not as smooth and detailed as you see now or even in Returns. It's
PlayStation 1 Fire Pro.
That's, yeah. It's very nice. We notice it's the same load screen as they've used in every Fire Pro game, including now. So some things never change. Like we mentioned before, the deathmatch is in a cage. I think the ring seems a little smaller than the later releases.
Yeah, I feel like that's like a big thing that's changed throughout the years for Fire Pro is that the ring size has definitely expanded.
In scale with like real life, I feel like it makes sense. But now it's just very big. But you could also have more people in the ring at a time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In theory, in like a realistic world, I guess they would scale the ring based on the type of match. But I guess that's also not realistic by any means. But
now we didn't see the entrances like we see in the later titles.
No, there's no entrances. You just kind of are in the ring.
You just like come out from like the barricade. You don't get the whole spiel. Like I know in Z and in a few others, you get like actual like tech music of theme songs, like Stone Cold's music and all that. It sounds like Shark Boys TNA Shell Yeah music, which is pretty funny. Everything else, we could keep saying it. It's Fire Pro. The gruesome fighting cage looks cool.
I would say I think this is one of the better versions of the UFC cage.
Yeah.
This looks more...
It's the shorter cage.
Yeah, which I think I like more than the cage that runs off the screen.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, everything Did you what?
No. Oh, no,
Did you what?
Did you
what?
Did you want to talk about the design of like the character's likeness?
All right, fine. Do that first.
Okay, and then you can hit me with the did you know.
I'm not cutting any of that.
I know you're not. I'm just saying. Then you can. I'm. Listen. You can't surprise me with the did you know.
Did you know?
No, son of a bitch.
Did you know Fire Pro Wrestling G was perceived as a huge step backwards from six-man scrambles in the eyes of Japanese fans, which would supposedly end the series at this point, until Spike stepped in for Fire Pro Wrestling D.
Did you know Fire Pro Wrestling G is on eBay for around $10 to $25 used?
All right, sorry I interrupted you.
Nope. Ratings and reviews, go.
No, I want to speak about one last thing. And then, no, I think we should talk about the likenesses because they were a big part here. But like we said, this was perceived as a huge step back. I don't really see why. It's just a normal Fire Pro. Maybe that's why. It was just a normal Fire Pro when six-man scramble was a little bit more unique, and this might have
themed.
Yeah, this might have like taken some features out. The Wonder Swan we said came after this, so maybe that was in development because that was 2000, I believe. And then that was the end of the human games, and Fire Pro was taken over by Spike after that. So just think. Fire Pro Wrestling for the Wonder Swan could have been the very last Fire Pro Wrestling game.
John would have been, man, I feel like Fire Pro would have been a much harder sell.
Yeah.
If that was the last one.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. Whatever. But all right, the likenesses. Talk about it. Let's go.
So let's. I mean,
did you know?
Let's break down the big ones here. I mean, you played as Onita Obviously,
Beautiful.
everyone knows what Onita looks like. It looks great. Looks just like him. Likeness in a Fire Pro game is nothing like what you would get for likeness in like a WWE PlayStation game or a WWE. Even today, you can't really compare the likeness of Fire Pro World to any current release. It's two different beasts. But I will say, Fire Pro does a really good job of capturing just the feel, I guess. So like the one that stood out to me, which I thought was really cool, the Undertaker's in here.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Undertaker's been in other Fire Pro games. We've seen his likeness used before, but this is the first one where he's actually like a color scheme wise, like he's very pale. He's got an all black
bigger
outfit. He's got the black with the purple gloves, the black with the gray gloves, and then he's got, honestly, he really does have like a Mean Mark Callis as his last attire, which I think is hilarious. But the likeness is so great. John just mentioned it before. The height is accurate. Kane's in the game, and he looks great. They did a great job. Sting's in here.
Fake Sting.
Hulk Hogan, Goldberg, fake Sting. Boss Rutan's in here, and the taunt that Boss Rutan does is spot on. It was chef's kiss. It was beautiful. They've got, I mean, who else? I thought, you heard.
Yeah, the Hogan looked great. But then you look at like Rey Mysterio, Hayabusa.
Oh, God, Rey's look so good.
Yeah, as good as like the American wrestlers all look, they nail any sort of masked or colorful wrestler to a T. They look so good. They're bright, they're vibrant, and they're spot on.
For like the amount of detail that has to go into someone like Rey or Hayabusa, and just knowing that you need to be like pixel perfect to get things right. Like it's really impressive to see what they were able to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And just think this is PlayStation 1. So yeah, it's cool. Yeah. But all right. You wanted it before. Here we go. It's time to sit back, relax for some ratings and reviews.
Let's go.
All right. We got the Game FAQ user rating, which gives this a 4. That is really creepy, what you're doing right now. He gives it a 4 out of 5 stars.
I can't lay back without it being creepy.
The way you put your hands behind your head, I don't know. 4 out of 5 stars, which is considered great. Difficulty, a 3 out of 5, which is just right / tough. So it's like right on the border there. And length of hours played is a total of 21 hours, which is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But that's the ratings, George. That's from Game FAQ, but I think it's time for the most important rating of them all, and that is our rating, because right now, it's time to rate the game.
The game!
Johnny Clash.
Hey, that's me.
Fire Pro Wrestling G for the PlayStation 1. Will you play it forever? Woo! Future endeavor.
You're fired!
This is a tough one, because it's one of those games that I didn't not like. We had fun playing it. I think I'm going to say future endeavor for the reason that I think we future endeavored a lot of these, and that's because I would just pick a different one instead. Like if we were to say, I feel like playing a Fire Pro game, I'm never going to just say, I'm going to run through Fire Pro G. I think the order would probably go something like World, Returns, and then Z, I think. I think Z would come after that. And also, I do want to play it again, so I'm choosing to play it on Future Endeavored before I forget about it.
You're fired!
But now, George Feis, your turn. Will you play it forever or Future Endeavor?
You know what I thought would never happen on this podcast, John?
What?
I never thought that I would say that I agree with absolutely everything you just said.
Wow.
In regards to a Fire Pro Wrestling game, yeah, you hit every nail on the head. It was perfect the way you said it. I mean, this is a great game. If the only option to play a Fire Pro game is this game, you are in great hands.
Yeah.
But there are better Fire Pro Wrestling games out there, and there's better Fire Pro Wrestling games that come before this game.
And that we might not have even played yet.
That's the big thing for me, is that if this game was great and the only game in the series that is better than this is like Returns or World, then I'm giving this a fair shot, because this is a great Fire Pro game for the PlayStation 1. But we've played good Fire Pro wrestling games for the PlayStation 1 already. And they don't all need to play it forever. At a certain point, it just gets redundant. And I think that this is a great game, but also going to look forward to playing this again for future endeavor.
You're fired!
Okay. I mean, that's pretty much, that's it. That's what this game comes down to. But all right, Double Fuge. It's been a while. But George, are you ready?
Is it time?
For the soft lock.
Softlock is a weekly segment on this podcast where John and I debate a topic that was given to us by our Megamarks this week. The topic comes from... Who's it coming from, John?
It's from Tecker, of course.
Tecker!
He's got the good questions.
Always. We love questions from Tecker. Tecker's topic is... How do we feel about pay-to-win into video games, especially given all the controversy that has recently come out in regards to Diablo Immortal?
So let's explain that first.
Okay.
So pretty much someone calculated what it would take to win, really, and like really put everything you have into Diablo, and it comes over to be like 100,000, which is insane. Your character would cost around $110,000 to be what it could be worth. I'm trying to explain what it could be for about a decade worth of playing is what you would pay $110,000 for, which to me is ridiculous. I hate pay to play. I hate pay to win. Pay to play, sure, fine. Play to win? No. I was a big fan of mobile games that did this, like Tap Baseball, where I loaded up my roster. I had all the cool stuff. I was doing like all these ads, but I was doing the ones that like at least you get products for. Yeah. Not just pay and you get stuff. But then like the next year's game came out and it was the same thing. And I was like, I think I'm done with this. I just probably spent close to $200-300 on this one baseball game, even though I enjoyed it. I'm not going to do that again. And then something like WWE Battlegrounds came out where it was like almost completely behind a paywall. And I just wanted nothing to do with it. I just want to take a game. I'm not even big on DLC. Like I'm not even downloading the WWE. Like Stan Backpack came out. I don't even have it. I didn't pre-order the one that comes with all the packs. And I'm not going to do it because I already paid for the game. I'm not going to pay for more. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it's hard to debate these topics because it's hard to make a case for a pay to win. I understand that companies are developing these games, and obviously it's a business, and the point of a business is to make money. So I understand making a game and being like, hey, if you want costumes or whatever, it doesn't affect the gameplay in any means, except you just have bragging rights for this costume. That's fine. But to have it where major items that advance the storyline, or
fuck that. I'm saying fuck that.
Yeah, things that are just so integral to doing anything productive in the game are stuck behind paywalls. And listen, pay to win, if maybe it's like 5, 10, 15, I'll even go as high as $30. I'll let it go. I'll let it go. I'll give you a pass. But I have played games and I've seen games where there's pay to win content and it's $65, $75.
No, just not into it.
That's a full console release, baby. That ain't going into my cell phone for a freaking cell phone game. It ain't happening. And in the general scheme of like a console release, I mean, I don't understand full console releases that follow this same model either, because
again, you're already paying enough.
DLC release is one thing. You want to add a couple extra side missions, get a couple costumes, some cosmetics, whatever. Some people love that stuff. But to be where it's like, oh, you had a really good time playing the first 4 chapters of this game? Great. Well, the conclusion is now locked behind a $40 paywall, and it doesn't, and that's the last 3 chapters of the game.
Yeah, I don't want it.
Not for me.
I'll buy all the skins I want because they're skins, and I'll buy maybe 1 or 2, but no, none of the rest. That's it.
Not a big fan.
Case closed. It should go away.
Play to win and pay to play, okay. Pay to win,
nope.
Not okay.
No,
thank you. Hard pass.
Yeah. All right.
Well, let us know what you thought about that soft lock topic somewhere on the internet, whether you want to hit us up on social media at GameMarksPod, or if you want to join our Patreon, you can come and hang out with us in our Discord. We could talk about it there too. Always a good time happening in our Discord. And with that, John, I think it's time that we hear about this week's gaming news. What do you got?
All right, gaming news sponsored by WrestleChamps for the iOS and Android. Go download that game, dive in, and hey, GameMarks1 is the code. Get yourself a free move pack in the game.
Hell yes.
Now, all right, PlayStation and Naughty Dog have finally revealed that The Last of Us is going to be getting a remake for the PS5 and maybe for the PC in the future. This gives me hope. I already made the decision. I'm getting an Xbox Series S. I'm not going with the PS5 because the PC, the Xbox, they work together. So maybe one day I'll get that Last of Us for the PC, just like Spider-Man's coming. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, speaking of prices, will be at the $69.99 price point for the PS4 and Xbox One because the cross-gen bundle is the only option here. So they're not going to just sell you that PS4 version anymore. Xbox Gaming is now coming to your Samsung Smart TV with no console required. So
my mind is blown.
You could play over 100 high-quality games. You could play Fortnite, all of those, all the Xbox Game Studio titles on the day they release, just on your TV. You don't even need the console anymore.
Future is now.
That's crazy. I mean, it's pretty much what the Stadia tried to be, right? All right. Games releasing this week: Jurassic World Evolution 2, Dominion Biosyn expansion, Autonauts. I don't know why I said Astro. My brain just went there. Autonauts, Overlord Escape from Nazarick, Redout 2, and Starship Troopers Terran Command. That sounds fun.
All right. All right, guys, youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast for all of our weekly playthrough videos, exclusive content, and more, including this week and every other week's game. John, what do we got going on Patreon this week, man?
All right, today you're getting that ad-free show on Monday. Tuesday, you're getting the show notes, and you're getting GMP Game Over on Patreon, where we continue to defend the tag team titles in WWF No Mercy. What are we calling ourselves? Bottom heavy? I like bottom heavy.
Bottom heavy?
I like bottom heavy.
Better than Brad Ass.
Billy Gunn and Bradshaw. Future endeavored on Wednesday. Last week you played Rock and Wrestle. I will be playing that this week, which actually we played Bop and Wrestle, the American version. Same thing. Thursday, you're getting OMG, where we play one more game. Now, I spoke to a friend of the show, TK Wild. He's been a little busy. He's going to go after OMG, so that show's coming too. Now, June 26th, GMP64 presents Mayhem, See the Fallout from Ladder Wars.
Oh, baby. All right, John. Well, would you like to hear what we are playing next week?
All right, let me know.
Next week, we are playing WWC, which is going to be very confusing because we're going to want to say WCW because we are playing the PlayStation 2 Classic World Wrestling Championship.
Oh, no, I am looking at this.
Not World Championship Wrestling. World Wrestling.
This is like Hulk Hogan, whatever the hell, for Xbox, but on a PlayStation. No, I don't.
Lot of fire. A lot of flame. We're walking. It's like we're pretty much. It's Guy Fieri wrestling simulator.
You're just wrestling on his shirt. All right. Well,
yeah.
Here goes nothing.
Yep. All right. GameMarksPod.com/shop for all of our exclusive merchandise. ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod for all of our new shirt designs, and Patreon.com/GameMarksPod gmail.com/GameMarksPodcast for all of our exclusive content like show notes, exclusive shows, and a whole lot more. At GameMarksPod on all forms of social media. And make sure to smack that subscribe button. Leave us a 5-star review, a rating on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're watching the video version right now, hey, hi, how are you? Like, comment, subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you know everything else that we're doing. And if you have a product or service that you would like to advertise on this podcast, please reach out to us at GameMarksPod@gmail.com. John, another Fire Pro game in the books. And there's only one thing left to do.
Game over.
Point to that side.
I'm just cutting you off today. Game over. Marks.
Yeah, it's just today.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.